at this time. We witness you as you are. When we witness you as you are, when we see you as you can only be seen in truth, when we see you as you can only be seen in truth, we recognize one thing. We recognize one thing, the magnitude of experience you've had on this one, that you have had on this plane has actually created a library, of expectations, things that could be seen, things that could be seen in other ways, but have become intractable, solidified through language, endowed with meaning, the clarification we bring to you now, the clarification we wish to bring to you now on the adventure that you are about to take, in a new recognition, is you must allow the language, the very language you use, to become altered by new impression, We use the word impression intentionally. We use the word impression intentionally. You are seeing something and understanding it through the interaction with it, You are comprehending it. You are comprehending it through the alignment that you hold to it, not what it was, or how you had noted, but as you will know it, in a new way. Imagine what he presented to you. Imagine somebody presented something to you that looked a way that you saw, in recognition of what it might be, that looks like a hand, that looks like a thumbtack, that looks like a pencil, that looks like a pencil, and you decide these things are so, without letting the thing inform you. Allow what you see to inform you. Allow what you see to inform you. Stop telling things what they are. Stop telling things what they are, but move into conversation with whatever is before you, and let it be known anew, Under the word let, underline the word let. You are not fixing, you are not sizing, you're not deciding what something is. You're in conversation with it. You are in conversation with it and being informed by it when you leave the old ways. The old definitions, the old ways of codifying experience, new experience ready for you. New experience is ready for you, already ready. It's already been presented. But you've been calling the thing by the old name, utilizing it through past use. When you understand that all that is before you, is being made new, you will align to it. In its potential, to be understood, comprehended. The conversation that ensues with the material realm takes on a new kind of language. We use the word language intentionally, and we use the word language intentionally. Language does not necessarily require words or sound that you can hear with your ears. You may be in conversation with something by simply knowing it, by recognizing it, by seeing what is always true, Now you may do this on your own. You may spend 10 minutes a day. Moving into conversation with the manifest world, understanding it as it has to be done, as it has to be understood, as it has to be known, as it has to be known, beyond the codification, the meaning has been given, it's been given through prior use. To understand this is to experience it in the dialogue that ensues, and the dialogue that ensues is actually without words, but first an impression, and then a brilliant kind of knowing, and then in a brilliant kind of knowing. Imagine that the tide comes in slowly. Imagine that the tide comes in slowly. You feel it at your toes. You feel it at your toes, at your feet, at your ankles, at your feet, at your ankles. And then one moment later, you understand water. You understand water. You truly understand water. You truly understand water through the experience of the water, as the tide come to surround you. Up until that time, you were tending to the idea of water. You were tending to the idea of water. That must be water. That must be water. That must be an ocean. That must be an ocean. That must be a lake. That must be a lake. That must be a pond. That must be a pond. That must be a puddle. That must be a puddle through the old frames of reference, through the old frames of reference. But when the water simply is, you're in the water and you are in the water and the experience of water, and in the experience of the water, you may know the water, you may know the water and its recognition of you, and its recognition of you is the piece that you have been missing, is the piece that you have been missing. Humanity has decided in many ways to be the conqueror of the shared landscape, We'll build a city here, we will build a city here, we'll build a dam there, we will build a dam there, we will build a tunnel there and a bridge there, we will build a tunnel there and a bridge there. And your edicts about what the world should be, about what the world should be, have been in a way to commandeer the physical plane in service to the collective needs, as you once understood them, At no time did you ever ask the lake, how do I like to be known, how it would like to be known, or where the road wished to land, At no time did you go into conversation with the road and invite it to tell you the story, and invite it to tell you its story. All who have tread upon it, and the futures they have met, and the futures they have met through taking that road, at this level of conversation. At this level of conversation, you're actually in a kind of dialogue. You're actually in a kind of dialogue through the senses, through the impressions that come, with the entirety of the landscape, with the entirety of the landscape that you operate through. You will understand this. You will understand this first in degree, as the tide comes over the toes, and then once you understand that the whole world is in song, and the whole world is telling you what it is, and the whole world is telling you what it is, you will understand the world. You will understand the world as it can be known, from the upper room. You understand dialogue. You understand dialogue as shared speech, shared idea. This is other than that. It's a level of accord. It's a level of accord, of reception, and of offering, that is shared by you, and the idea of you, that maintains identity, I am still Alice. I am still Alice. I am still Jeffrey. I am still Jeffrey, with the idea of the lake, or the sea, or the man or woman before you, or the man or woman before you, to really know them, at this level of dialogue. Is to be an interchange, is to be in an interchange, and to be the receptor, of what has come, the source of all things, known as thumbtack, known as camp, known as hand, known as life, expressed through all these things, or an encounter with, that you are in an encounter with. Reality you see is born in mandate, the shared reality you known, the shared reality you have known is born in agreement, to meaning, and to mandate, This is what life should be. This is how life should be lived. And this is how God should be prayed to. And this is how God should be prayed to when we are taking you beyond the idea of God. When we are taking you beyond the idea of God to the great it that expresses as all things. We don't deny the small gods. We don't deny the small gods, or the gods created by men, or the gods created by men. We take you beyond them. We take you beyond them to a level of tone, that's inclusive of all, to be in prayer all day long is simply dialogue, is simply to be in dialogue, as we describe it with what you encounter, knowing what you encounter, knowing that what you encounter is God, come as these things, the vibration that holds manifestation, that which binds what is, gives it shape and form, is always God, and those things that comprise the form, and those things that comprise the form, call them what you wish, in any scientific term, you wish to apply, is also God, God is the thing held by the cement, God is the thing held by the cement, and God is the cement, and God is the cement, and God is the landscape, and God is the landscape, the thing that the thing comes as and sits in, that you share with it, the dialogue that we're to you. The dialogue that we are bringing to you is actually occurring just in this way, just and this way. We understand you, comprehend you, are in dialogue with you, and are in dialogue with you. In the upper room, your ears are not attending this, your ears are not attending to this, but every sense is involved, in one way or another, in the escalation of tone that you are now encountering, as we dialogue with you. We comprehend the individual needs, and the collective needs both, in simultaneity, because both levels of dialogue are indeed occurring now, and as we hear you, you are receiving us, in every line of this text, in every syllable uttered by Paul, with our meaning and intent carried by it. We sing your songs for you, so that you may learn the words, but the words that you are learning are coming in agreement, in alignment, in coherence, and in coherence with your innate needs, not the needs you think you have, not the needs you think you have, but your innate needs, Now, to move beyond the common field. To move beyond the common field is not to deny the common field, is not to deny the common field, not to pretend that things are different, not to pretend that things are different. You are simply in a level of coherence. You are simply in a level of coherence where the divine self, come as you, is an encounter with the divine, come as all things. The dialogue is ensuing, and the dialogue that is ensuing is happening at several levels, while you understand who and what you are, in the upper room, or in this level of alignment, you are still seeing the evidence of past creations, to be in dialogue with these creations is not to diminish them, it's to reclaim them, and the reclamation is occurring, at this level of dialogue, when something tells you its real name, not the name that it's been given, not the name that has been given, you will know it at a level of essence, and what a real name is, is its real sound, its real tone, and that is what you're experiencing, and that is what you are experiencing at this level of dialogue. Now, is tone a language? Yes. Now, is tone a language? Yes, indeed it is. But even tone may fall into alignment, with prior edict, and this is why we use the claim, made new, always new. Always new means you are always in the present moment at this level of coherence, so you're always in reception with the innocence of a child, and the awareness we would suggest, of one who knows the truth, Can both of those things happen simultaneously? Can both of those things happen simultaneously? Indeed, they always do. The wisest sage maintains innocence, otherwise he or she cannot learn. When you decide what is so, how it has been and must be, you are actually not present. In this moment. You're in coherence with the idea of the past. You're in coherence with the original idea of the past, the hereditary structures that a thing has held, and you're anticipating what it should be, and you're anticipating what it should be, which is what it has been, to be in the present moment. To be in the present moment is to be in a state of perpetual innocence. Now, innocence is not ignorance. Innocence is true wisdom. Because knowing comes to the innocent. Information is not so much amassed. It is held as it is required. This is how you open a can. This is how you walk walk to work. This is how you walk to work. But the experience of these things in completeness is in the present moment, is in the present moment. And the walk to work is always new in the experience of opening the can. And the experience of opening the can is always new. The mundanity you experience in the common field, through habituated behavior is actually released, and all things are somewhat remarkable, even though opening a can may seem simple, you actually don't understand what you are doing to this, what you are doing when you do this, and the magnificence of a simple act, and the magnificence of a simple act will not be lost upon you, those who do not have eyes to see, and then are graced by sight, live in a perpetual state of amazement of what has always been there, but was previously unseen, and that is the metaphor, for your experience, at least the initial one, of abiding in the upper room, reconciliation with yourself, with the true self, at the cost of the old, aligns this experience of being and knowing, in the ever-present now, as a state of expression, or level of tone, You are at a level of tone now. You are in a level of tone now. You are at a level of tone. You were at a level of tone prior to this teaching. You're coming to a level of tone, and you are coming to a level of tone and amplification. Where much of what we teach becomes simply known, simply understood, and agreed to by you, less informationally than experientially. So experience of these teachings, it is your experience of these teachings that is actually important. It's far less important that you condone what we say, or even agree to what we say, at the level of the intellect. At the level of the intellect is your experience. It is your experience of the manifestation of the teachings that is the gift we give you, and the gift you receive from us, and the gift you receive from us, and the dialogue we undertake. We will say these words of each of you now. We will say these words for each of you now. I am now willing to move to a level of coherence with all things made new, where I may engage in a dialogue, an unspoken dialogue, for the truth to be revealed in all that I encounter, I'm going to be receptive. I am willing to be receptive to what surrounds me, to perceive what truly is, what truly is, understand what truly is, be in coherence with what truly is, be in coherence with what truly is. Am I aligned to it, so that I may align to it in its truthful state, And as I say yes to this, and as I say yes to this, I liberate myself from past meaning, past doctrine, and the meaning things had been given, through the separation that they were created in, I am word through this intention. I am word through this intention. Word, I am word. Indeed, we thank you for your presence. Indeed, we thank you for your presence. This is in the text. Stop now, please. Would they stand as one?